Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another series of me spinning the wheel. I had ended my last video earlier than I had anticipated because I wanted opinions on what to do with one of the charts that I'm stitching on, and that is the chart Dragon Hall. It was my last spin in my last video and it's a long dog sampler, so I'll insert the artwork of what it will look like when it's finished, and I wanted opinions on the castle here. So I had originally changed all of the colors from the charted colors to Anchor Floss because I have a bunch of Anchor that I got on clearance from Michaels. I think it was last year. They had it ridiculously cheap because Michaels was getting rid of all of their Anchor, and so it was super cheap. So I was just grabbing whatever colors I liked, which also meant that a lot of the colors can't really do a full chart because I grabbed mostly like pinks, purples, reds, and blues. I did not really grab any like browns and tans and things like that a lot of charts kind of need for other colors, because most charts aren't just the bright colors. They also have a lot of use for browns and greens and things like that. So it kind of left some holes in what I could put in this chart. So I had originally put in for the castle to be stitching it with this purple Anchor floss, but then I was going through leftover floss that I had and I found a silk from Silks For You, and so I had dyed it a little bit darker, and it's in a big ball. I am not that organized, and I dyed it a little bit darker, so this is it now. Very unorganized. I just balled it up. I need to get another one of my floss drops out and put it on a floss drop because all my other floss is on floss drops that are from Atomic Heart Cross Stitch? Atom Heart Cross Stitch? Atom Heart Cross Stitch, I think is what it is. And so all my other floss is on floss drops. Very nice and stored, and I haven't put the Silks For You on one yet. So my big debate was, do I do it in the purple Anchor or do I switch it to the silk? I think I'm going to do it in the silk, and I was worried about it blending into the fabric, which the fabric is Iron Ore from the sewingshop.ca, but the entire castle is going to have black stitching around it. So it might not stand out on the fabric, but there will be a black outline around it, and there's also going to be back stitching in all of the sections, I think, to make like windows and all that stuff. So there is going to be outlines so that even if it blends in, there will be outlines around it. And then I think I will be using the purple though in the other sections because this color is also supposed to be in some like swirlies that go under the castle. So I think I'm going to use the purple for like those swirlies and in the border. So that's my thought process. I'm also going to mention too that a hank of Silks For You goes so far. And so I will start by saying that I had originally purchased my hank of Silks For You in natural for Castles in the Air by Long Dog Sampler, and I pulled it out because I had a comment where someone had asked to see previous finishes because I've talked about some of them recently. And so I had originally bought it for Castles in the Air by Long Dog Sampler, and so this is what the silk looked like before it was dyed. I will hold it back. And I stitched this on I think it was like a 16 or 18 count Picture This Plus in the color Huntress, and I stitched it 1/1 full cross. So I used that hank originally for this chart here. So this is what it looked like before it was dyed. And then I had a bunch of it left, so I decided I would dye it purple and use it in a different Long Dog sampler, which takes me to, this one is Opening Gambit, and I stitched this one. I dyed the silk purple, and so here is the purple. And I stitched this one also 1/1 because I feel like with silk it's thicker than DMC, so if you use 2 strands it can be kind of thick even on like a 16 or 18 count. So this one is Opening Gambit using the silk that I dyed purple, and so I stitched all of that, and so now we have it stitched here. The one hank has so far done 2 Long Dog samplers, and I still had this left of like the undyed natural that I have now dyed with some taupe. Plus I still have a whole bunch of the dark purple left from Opening Gambit, and so I'm also going to be using that in Dragon Hall. I made one of the colors a dark purple so that I could use this. Plus I have some that I dyed a lighter purple that I'm also going to be using in Dragon Hall. So one hank of Silks For You can do so many things. So that's all that I've done for that. I was also going to show one other long dog sampler because this is my favorite long dog sampler that I have stitched. And it was the first one I ever stitched, and it was Death by Cross Stitch. I also stitched it using a Silks For You hank, and I still have some of it left, but not as much because this is a much bigger long dog sampler, and this is, like I said, I don't know if I said it, Death by Cross Stitch with some changes. So this was like one of the first charts that I decided to make major changes to. I'm losing my needle. Here, there we go. So it's the first one that I made changes to, and you will see why. So here it is, Death by Cross Stitch. This is, I probably can't get the whole thing in one shot, but I made changes. So I started on the bottom in the corner over here, and I was stitching it over across the bottom, and I got to the section here that had lions, and I was like, at the time Game of Thrones was like really big, it was still on TV, and I was like, what if I stitched the lions using gold, and then they are Lannister lions? So I found gold metallic, and I stitched the lions with gold. Well, then I started thinking about, like, I need more than just Lannister lions, and then I started looking for other things that I could switch in the chart. So I did Baratheon stags using a black metallic. I did some red dragons for the Targaryens, and then there was nothing for Direwolf, so I recharted the center block to be a Direwolf. And the Direwolf pattern itself I found on Etsy. I will have it linked down below. And so I basically got some like grid paper, and I put the Direwolf where I wanted it to be on like the grid, and I had charted out how big this space was, and then I just started designing little motifs around it to fill in around the Direwolf. And I love this piece because at the time of Game of Thrones, I love Game of Thrones still, even though the ending kind of sucked, but yeah, I was really happy with this. And like I said, it was my first long dog sampler, and it's huge, and it was also my first time using a silk. There it is. I still have obviously not actually framed anything, which kind of sucks, but one day I will get things framed. It's just that when they are so big, the cost to frame it would be huge. So that was what I was going to show. Back to Dragon Haul. So Dragon Haul, I did 500 stitches on it, which means my goal for this month is met. And I didn't do a ton of the silk for it yet because I still wasn't sure if I wanted to continue with the silk or try the purple, but I think I'm just going to do the silk. I would really like to have said like that this one hank of silk is in multiple long dog samplers, which it is at this point. It has been in, this will be the third one, and if there's any left, it could possibly go into another one. So that is what I got done. And then I did my 200 stitches on Autumn Harmony, and I also started stitching on her this morning, so there's another like 50, so it's like 250. And I was filling in the color that's on my needle right now. It's 842. It's kind of like this light beigey tan color. It's kind of boring, but I filled in 250 stitches of that. And because this is like the first clip of her in the video, this is an 18 count, 2/1 full cross. Now I will spin the wheel to pick the project that I will work on today. And we have Kita, which is by Pinky the Pink, and you can find her charts on makeitpink.net. She is over here, still on the hoop from last time, and I need to do 600 more stitches to meet my goal on her for this month, so I will be working more on the dress and just bringing it down to the bottom because that's really all that's left for the cross stitch, is just all dress. And I will show the top part of her real quick. And this is being stitched on a 28 count fabric that I dyed using eggplant rit dye, 2/2 full cross as charted. And I will be back tomorrow with my progress on her. And here is Kita after like 600 stitches, which means that I met the goal on this piece. So now it is done for the month. And that means I only have, I think, 6 charts left on my wheel to spin. So I was working on this center section here, And I finished this peachy color that goes around in like this little swirl, and then I was working on these colors that are in the center. So that's what I was focusing on. There is a ton of this blue left, and so I'm really not looking forward to whenever I get to that, because it's like huge sections of color that is like all one color, and then there will be like a transition like here where the stitches are like little in a checkerboard pattern, and then it's just a bunch of big sections that end in a checkerboard. So that's not going to be that fun, but I was happy that I met my goal on Kita, so now she is done for the month. And then I did my 200 stitches on Autumn Harmony and was just still filling in this area up here. I'm pretty sure that next month I am going to go back to stitching it cross country using one color, because I really like that method more, because I feel like when you're moving the hoop around, it makes you feel like you're getting more done, whereas when you're just filling in this one section, I'm just like, I feel like there's not a lot getting done, even though it's the same amount of stitches. You know, every month I'm trying to do like a little over 5,000, so every month it's getting the same amount of progress, but it seemed like a lot more progress when I was stitching the red than when I'm stitching in this corner. So I think next month I'll be doing Extreme Cross Country, and now I will spin the wheel to pick my project for today. And like I said, there's less projects now on the wheel, which means there's a higher chance of getting some of like the board game stitch along and Cozy Winter Book Nook. And we have Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, which is by Witchy Stitcher. I will go and grab that real quick. My goal for this project is to do 500 stitches this month, or that's what I'm trying to do every month so that I can get it finished. And so I'm hoping tonight I can get all of these stitches done, and then this will be another project that I can take off the wheel. And I'm really feeling good about my goals this month in terms of meeting them and not having to rush. Last month I was really rushing at the end of the month and doing a ton of stitching to try and meet all the goals. And this month, like I said, there's 6 projects left. This one will hopefully be off tonight, and I still have, you know what day is it today? Today's the 18th. I still have, you know, another 12 days of stitching, so I'm hoping that I won't be rushing at the end of the month to meet my goals. But then also talking about May, because I had talked about May plans in my previous video and how I wasn't sure what to do, and in the comments a lot of people left what they were doing, and a lot of people are doing really fun things. There's like Mirabilia May, someone I saw is doing Mini May where they're working on small charts, which I think is really, it's a good idea because you can get a lot done on small charts if you just focus on them. And so I liked that. And then there was also, I think, a Mermaid May. Some people are monogamous stitchers, so they're just stitching on the project that they have because they only have one project, which I think is amazing, because I remember back when I first started stitching, I only had one project, and it's kind of nice to only have one thing to work on, and you don't have to rotate, you just focus on one thing. And so a lot of people had really fun ideas that they were doing for May, and I think that what I'm leaning towards, and I'm talking about it with this project because I think I'm just going to do like nothing special really for May. Like, I can call it something silly if I want. Like, I was thinking about, like, I could call it, like, Meeting Goals May or Making Progress May. But I think I'm really just going to kind of stick to what I've been doing. But the only thing that I'm going to change is that I would like to finish Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage in May. So I think what I'm going to do is the first week of May, I will be focusing just on this chart, trying to get it finished. And then after that, I will be going back to spinning the wheel because I don't want to mess up my goals for the year with taking a month off. So I think that's what I'm going to do for May, is like, just like I said, call it like Meeting Goals, Making Progress May or something, you know, silly, and that's it. It'll just be me kind of doing mostly what I've been doing, but also trying to get a finish snuck in there. And this is being stitched on the fabric Deep Sea from Crosswind Collection. It's a 28 count 2/2 full cross. And I think that this chart does have some back stitching. So right now I have done my calculations on how much needs to be done of like the full crosses, but I think there is back stitching that will need to be done on it too. So I will be back tomorrow to show my progress that I get done on this chart. Here is Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage after 700 stitches, which means that I met the goal and I actually went over the goal because the goal was to do 500 this month and then I did extra. but that does mean I did not stitch on Autumn Harmony yesterday. So I was just like obsessed with working on this. I really wanted to get as much done as I could because I do want to finish this in May. And so now there's only 1,500 stitches left. And I've mentioned before that I am someone where once I get close to the end of a project, I really just want to keep going. So it is really hard for me to like put this down until May, even though May's only like, what, a week and a half away? It's really hard for me to put this down knowing that it's so close to a finish. Yesterday when I was stitching on it, I was trying to focus on finishing some of the colors. So I think I finished 3 or 4 colors. I finished, I think, a couple of the greens that are used. I finished one of the reds that's only in the lights on the house. And then there was another color I finished. I can't remember which one. I think it might have been like a brown. There's the brown in some of the hat on the pumpkin snowman. So I was finishing some colors off, and so now a lot of the colors left have a lot more stitches. Like there is a ton of the 3865 that needs to be done over like on the ground, plus it's going to be in the trees to make the trees look like they have, you know, snow on them. So yeah, there's still a ton to do, but I am so happy to see so much more coming out because you can actually tell that this is a tree here, and I got some more brown done on the house there, and yeah, it's beautiful. I love this chart. I cannot wait until May to get this finished. Cannot wait. So like I said, I didn't work on Autumn Harmony though, because normally I do Autumn Harmony first and then I do my other project that gets spun in the evening. But I just wanted to start working on this right away, so I did. And then instead of switching later at night, I just kept working on it because I didn't feel like getting Autumn Harmony out, so I just kept stitching on this while I was listening to the new Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift, she came out with a new album. We knew it was coming. We knew the album was coming. And then a couple hours later, she posted a little thing where she was like, oh, by the way, I had so many songs. There's a whole nother 15 songs released. And I was just like, I guess we don't need sleep. I guess we're just staying up all night. So I was listening to a lot of Taylor Swift. How are all the Swifties doing? Are you tired? Are you okay? The timing of this is terrible because like Taylor Swift album coming out late at night, no sleep, and then it's a 24 hours of cross-stitch weekend coming up. So when are people supposed to sleep? I don't know. I actually don't know if I'm doing 24 hours of cross-stitch. I'm not planning on it, so I think that's where I'm at. But obviously there's still time today for me to change my mind. But as of right now, I am not doing 24 hours of cross-stitch. So there's that. Anyways, I will pick my projects for this weekend. Now that that is finished, the goal on Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, that means there are only 5 projects on the wheel, so I am really hoping that we get some of the new projects that haven't been worked on yet, like the board game Stitch Along. It would also be nice to get Cozy Winter Book Nook again, so let's see what we get. So first project here is going to be Little Gamer, and I will pull all these out afterwards, so let's spin again. So we have Little Gamer first. The next one is Little Gamer again. I'm gonna spin again. I don't want to do Little Gamer 2 days in a row. So we're gonna spin again. We're gonna act like that didn't happen. I'm actually going to hide Little Gamer from the wheel so it can't be picked again, because I want 3 different projects for the weekend. So let's spin again. And we have Cozy Winter Book Nook. I will hide that so I don't get that twice too. And then that leaves only a few things. So what will it be? I'm surprised Tonight We Ride wasn't picked because that was picked all the time last time. Board game Stitch Along. So I have 2 of my new starts and then Little Gamer. So I will grab those real quick to show the starting points on them. Okay, so I will start with the board game Stitch Along. And I think on this one I will be working on the center tile because I still haven't finished that. And then I will probably be working on some of the black for the border because I don't have any of the black sections filled out to where I could actually start another block unless I were to just start them without the border, but I would really like to have the border done so that I know that things are going in the proper place. And this is being stitched on the called for fabric, which is Board Games by Witch's Garden Crafts. It's a 16 count and I'm doing it 2/1 full cross. And then Little Gamer. Oh, and then for this one, my goal for the month is to do 1,000 stitches. And then Little Gamer, I'm trying to do 2,500, but I already had done some stitches, so I don't remember how much is left. But here's Little Gamer. This is by Medusa Dollmaker. This is the kit from Gecko Rouge, but now the charts are available on a website called folktalesmarket.com, I think. And they have this one available, but it doesn't have the background, which to me is a plus because you don't need to stitch all the background. I had recently bought some charts from the new website, like last week, I think, and I actually went through and removed the background on the charts, and it took away like 30% of the stitches on one of them. So I was like, that is a huge amount of the chart that I now don't have to stitch. So that means that at least they'll be slightly smaller, even though they're pretty big charts. So here's Little Gamer. This is a 25 count 2/1 tent stitch. And then the last one is Cozy Winter Book Nook. And this one is artwork by Rose Kahn, charted by Pain Free Crafts. I love this. I'm really considering Pain Free Crafts. I think is still having a sale. And they charted Dragon Race Into the Night, which is also by Rose Kahn. I own the Haid version, but the Haid version that I have is a max color. I do not want to stitch a max color chart, so I'm really tempted to buy the Pain Free Crafts version, which it's slightly larger than my Haid version, but it uses like half the colors. So I'm really tempted to get that during the sale, even though I already have the chart from Haid, but I want the other one. Anyways, here's my starting point on Cozy Winter Book Nook. The last time I was stitching on it, I was trying to go down to the fireplace, and yeah, it's hard because the stitches are just confetti everywhere. No blocks of color exist on this chart, but it's fine. So I'll probably just be filling in more of the colors up in this fabric that's hanging from the ceiling. And this is on 25 count, 2/1 tent stitch. And then I will show real quick Autumn Harmony because she didn't get shown yet. I will be working on her this weekend so that I don't get too far behind. And so I should technically do like a little bit extra. So instead of 200 stitches a day, I'll probably try and do like 260 or 270 to make up for the fact that I didn't stitch on her yesterday. So that is what I'll be working on this weekend. Not doing 24 hours of cross stitch though, because like I said, the last time I did it, and the only time that I actually completed the full 24 hours, because I've only completed the full 24 hours once, and I felt like dead afterwards. I was like, I don't want to stitch for another like week, and so I just didn't stitch for a while. So I don't want to do that again. That is all that I have for this video though, and this will be going up today. In next week's video, you will get to see my stitching progress on these charts here. So if you want to come back and see the progress, that will be next week. And I hope that you all have a good weekend or week whenever you're watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!